I knew there was a hospice here, and my mom was getting very ill, and I would, every time that I would drive by, because I live close by, I would hope that if my mom ever got to a place where she needed to leave our house, that this is where she would come. And I would actually gesture up to the sky and say, let there be no mistakes. If she ever has to leave my house, let it be this. And then when she actually, the time came and she had to leave our house, it was the most phenomenal experience I had. The nurse decided, we decided, she helped us decide that we could no longer take care of her at home. And they were going to find her a home, and they asked a hospice, they asked what we preferred. And I gave Innisfree and Lessard house. But in the back of my mind, I wanted Innisfree because it's 5 minutes from our house. So all this happened at 6 p.m. and at 8:30 a.m. I received the call. And at first they said Lessard House, and I said, well, that's fine. And they said, but we want her to go to Innisfree where it's 5 minutes from your house. So I thought it was a manifestation of a beautiful thing that just happened, and this is where she came. Of course, my mom was here for an extended period of time. And so that allowed us an opportunity to get to know them. And they were the most loving team. And because you get to build relationships, our room was often a room where if they could, they would gather 2 or 3. And they nicknamed my mom the Queen because she didn't speak English, but she would say goodbye, and she would say goodbye like this. And the staff was phenomenal. I never imagined that at the end of my mom's life, who was the biggest love of my life, who I had the privilege to have as a mom for 59 years, I never imagined that it would be what it was, which was loving and not a lot of tears, because I treasured every single minute and every single moment. And so did she, and she knew exactly what was happening with her. And so we talked a lot about so many things. But the staff, I don't have one memory where I could say that could have been done a little bit better. So.
Elizabeth talked about the language barrier, but many of the staff also tried to use Portuguese words. So I made a sheet with some useful phrases, and quite often they would try to ask her if she was hungry, thirsty, what she liked, what she wanted. And they really personalized the care. A lot of times we would bring food for my mother-in-law, and they would warm it up for her. They got to know her very well, and really catered to her needs.
There was many things that surprised and impressed me. One of the things that stands out for me is the fact that my mom came in here in July. She came to Innisfree in July, and they wanted to open the doors of her room and move her bed. And at first she was a bit resistant. And then she agreed, and we had so much fun, if I can say that, because she would get so enthusiastic and so alive watching the birds, and she thought, all of these birds are here to visit me. Look at the little yellow bird. And I would lie in bed with her often, and so I would do that as well when we're facing the outside. And that was always one of the moments where her eyes would glow, her face would shine, and she was just so extremely happy.
Well, I mean, in situations like that my mother was in, and so many other families are, I think there's a great need. And so the care that is given here, things are really tough for caregivers in our case. As many other families, you take care of these relatives, wife, mother, father, for as long as we can in our homes, and then that is very draining. And to be able to have a place like this where We have professionals taking care of the many needs of the person, and we can be here to support our loved ones in a different way and not having to worry about taking care of their needs that we at home could no longer do. So there is definitely a need, and this is a place where they provide that care that it's irreplaceable.
I also wanted to say that the importance of having a place like this in a community is the fact that for a long time I took care of my mom at home, and having a place like this, this was my first experience, but it allowed me to be a loving daughter as opposed to a caregiver. Therefore, the quality of time that I spent with my mom once she was here was of a different kind. I was able to lie down in bed with her. I was able to sing with her. I was never tired to do these extra things that she absolutely loved. So unless you go through it, you don't know the difference that it makes. And I would encourage anyone that has an opportunity to have a loved one at a place like this to look into it. For myself, if I could tell the future and if I could book in advance, I would be so lucky to end my life at a place like Innis Freyor, Lizardo.